Hello and welcome to episode 112 of the Game Brew Podcast, the bi-weekly video game podcast where we sip delicious beers, discuss video games, and dump our tea into Boston Harbor like a bunch of good upstanding rebels. It was close.
Fucking A, man.
I sound like someone's mother, but it's okay.
Wicked. Fucking wicked.
Wicked.
Good.
Wicked hardcore.
I'm your wicked good host, Ian Ben Franklin Richard, and I'm joined this week by Chris Thomas Jefferson Wrights.
But I want to be James Madison.
And Dan George Washington Ruts.
The reason I sound so funny is because my teeth are made of wood.
Are actually made of slaves' teeth, funnily enough.
Oh, also bad.
Yeah, school lied to us, it turns out. And Allison Elizabeth Katie Stanton Van Devender.
The best protection any woman can have is courage. And by the way, for everybody who doesn't know who this woman is, look her up. She's baller.
She is baller, actually.
I thought the best protection would be like a sword or a gun.
Oh, yeah, those things aren't
Or a condom.
natively allowed back.
Wow. This week on the show, we'll be talking about Boom Pow Fireworks and the video game invasion of the big and little screens. But first, it's time for a beer. Chris, what are we? Are you not popping a beer? Oh, you're pouring already. Chris, what are we drinking
He's
this
pouring
week?
a beer.
Boston Lager.
Boston
Drink some
Lager.
lagers.
Bassin lager.
Drinking some lagers.
Lagers with my boys.
So you probably had Boston Lager from Samuel Adams.
Is it actually Samuel Adams or is it Sam Adams? I'm looking now. It is Samuel.
It's Samuel Adams. I'll have a Samuel
Samuel
Jackson.
Good
You know
old
what? I'll have a
Uncle
Samuel
Sam.
Jackson too.
Samuel Jackson. It'll get you drunk.
Ain't you seen my movies? Yeah. Yeah. So Sam Adams. Let me take a little swig of this.
Tastes like freedom.
It tastes better than like most other. Like it tastes better than like Budweiser. I'll say
does.
that.
It tastes.
Certainly better than Miller.
Is it labeled
Yes.
as an American lager?
No, it's a Boston lager.
It's a Boston lager.
It's distinctively complex and balanced, and it's also got a certification for being an independent craft. So I believe it's the biggest independent craft brewer out there. And in the past few years, they bought Dogfish Head as well.
Oh, really? That's very interesting.
Yep. So Dogfish Head and Sam Adams are the same thing.
So, they're
Not the same thing, but the same company.
Not the same
You know what I
thing.
mean.
But yeah, it's the same thing.
So this is really bitter on the front, but like kind of malty too.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting flavor, and it's not like a lot of other lagers out there. It's not. I mean, it's crisp, but very bitter at the front. It's super bitter.
Which is an interesting move for a flagship beer. And I guess it's just one that probably, for whatever reason, probably good reasons, at least in their mind, hasn't changed a whole lot in a while.
Probably not.
There's and I think it's interesting because like Pennsylvania boy, Yingling. I drink Yingling lager most.
Bless you.
Thank you. But he does. The interesting thing, and it's very different. Like they taste very different. The Yingling
very
lager
much so.
is it has flavor, but none of the bite that this one does. Like it tastes like a lager. Whenever you drink it, you're like, this is a lager. It's a very smooth lager.
Yeah.
It tastes good. I can drink a lot of these. The Sam Adams Boston lager does have a little bit more of that sort of tang to it.
Yeah.
So whenever you even whenever you're drinking it, like the Yingling, I could house them. I could drink them over and over again.
Right.
Boston lager, I probably could.
So, Dan, would you say that the drinkability of a Boston lager is lower than the drinkability of a Yingling, disregardless of any other quality ratings?
Certainly the chuggability.
Yes. Sorry, the
Yeah, the chuggability is lower than a Yingling. I would put the chuggability of a Yingling at about like a 6-pack, whereas the chuggability of a Boston lager is like a 2-fer. Like I could chug 2 of them and be like, oh, that's it. But Yingling lager, I could chug 6 of them and be like, great. This I could keep doing this.
6 more, please. Yeah, I feel like
Six-
Yingling is
six-
more of like just a better version of your standard like Budweiser,
Yeah.
Right.
normal beers, but like it's darker, more flavorful. It's just better in every category. Whereas this is like an actual completely different thing almost.
Yeah, and it sits on the palate too. Like whenever you take a sip, you drink it, and it just kind of hangs out there, which isn't a bad thing. It's just that you just keep getting that flavor as you drink it.
Yeah. No,
It's kind of nice.
That sounds good.
I like it.
I actually, I instead of picking up the regular old Sam Adams, because I figured you all would do a pretty good job of doing a review, I picked up Summer Sam. Their summer ale, which is a citrus wheat ale, and this is one of my favorite summer beers every summer. And it continues to just be, I think, among the best summer ales out there. It like does enough to be like crisp and a little bit citrusy and sort of like light, but it doesn't go overboard. Like it's not trying to like push a flavor on you. But it is just a really nice light summer ale that will help you refresh, which is exactly what you want during the summer. And I personally prefer it to their Boston Lager.
Yeah, I would say their seasonals are actually really good. Their Oktoberfest is pretty solid.
Their winter ale's really
their
good.
winter one's really good. I don't know what they do for spring.
I think it's just Boston Lager. I think it's just, I don't know.
If the podcast is still going in 2076, we should just drink Sam Adams for the whole year.
I don't know if we're gonna be alive by then.
Well, we'll be 80
technology's
something.
getting better.
I don't know.
be
Drinking
80-something.
the blood of the innocent is keeping me pretty young.
Allison, speaking of, tell us about the blood of the innocent. It looks delicious.
Yeah, so we'll see. So fun fact, Allison drank a lot Friday. Woo, like way
Yay.
too much. Way too much. So this is actually making me want to hurl just smelling it. So we'll see how this goes right now.
Okay. This could be the very first vomit on a
I
Game
know.
Brew podcast.
I'm not
I would
looking
say.
forward to this moment. So what I grabbed, I got a little airplane bottle because I did not want a full bottle of this because I just don't think it's going to be good. But I got Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry.
Oh, I get it.
See? Red, White, and Berry.
Yep.
Like red, white, and blue. Because
Yep.
it's blue raspberry, cherry, and citrus. It just says citrus.
That's what
Okay.
the white is. It's just
s-
random citrus.
So I also figured out a whole airplane bottle is a shot. I didn't know if it would be or not.
You didn't know
It's
that?
like very to the top, though. I don't want to do this. Oh, God.
Just do half. Just have a sip.
No, do the whole thing.
Okay, peer pressure. Oh, there it goes.
There, it's in.
Oh,
Oh,
ooh.
Nope.
wow. Okay.
All right.
Hot takes. Was it
Um,
the red, white, or the blue part that you enjoyed the most?
It just tastes blue raspberry with
Okay.
lime. I mean, it's not bad.
That's like one of the. I think that's raspberry stuff. Kind of overpowers anything else that's in most of the time.
Mm.
So even if you mix it and stuff, it's just like all I taste is raspberries.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll do it again.
But
yeah, it's not bad.
yeah, the face she's making indicates she probably will not.
No, it's more the fact that I drank way too much and I need a break. So that was
boy.
more it. I'm trying to give it an honest review though, just based on how it's tasting, and I just don't think I'd ever taste it again on purpose. Like
That
this
is the
definitely-
nicest way to say, Allison, this I feel like you're one of those people who has mastered the art of the like it's not you, it's me breakup.
Oh,
Like because that was the nicest way to say like this is fucking disgusting and it shall never pass these lips ever again.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to master that is to honestly believe it. So I always did when I said it. Looking back, less so. But in the moment, you think it's definitely that case. Yeah, no, I feel like this is something that people have at parties, right? And it's easy, and you know, Smirnoff is such like a younger person drink, if you will. Like it's cheap. It's just there. Most people will consume it because they just want to be drunk. And
Consume.
and it's like it's kitschy because it's red, white, and berry, and it's like holiday themed for for America. So like, I get it.
Mark.
I get it. This is meant to be that and nothing else. It's not going to be my go-to drink. Yeah.
That's like have you had the red, white, and blue
Fruit Loops.
Mountain Dew?
Oh yeah. Also,
which is like, doesn't make sense because it's like, it's just blue.
Right.
Whenever you look at it, it's like, I know you're supposed to be red, white, and blue, but it's like a bluish purple color because you can't have separate colors in a beverage.
it is Baja Blast season, by the way, and I can't find it. That's another pain point for Allison. But continue, everyone. Let's move on.
I mean, speaking of pain points, has anyone been playing any games this week?
I played something super cute.
What did you
And
play,
finished
Mr. Q Dan?
Blah, blah, blah,
I'm just
blah.
imagining Dan with like giant, like sad.
Yeah, like kawaii anime eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Powerpuff Girls eyes.
every animal in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign has big kawaii style anime eyes. Just it's canon. It's just what it looks like.
Love that.
Okay.
But I played and finished a game called New Super Lucky's Tale.
Okay.
On the Xbox. It's a very much like a Mario-esque adventure puzzle sort of game.
Uh-huh.
Very cute. The crux of the story is that you're a fox. There was a Super Lucky's Tale, which was like the previous one, and then this is New Super Lucky's Tale, which is more.
I
and
see.
in it, you like go and you have to stop a bunch of evil cats from taking over a bunch of stuff.
That makes sense. Cats are evil.
Yeah, they're called it's Jinx is the main cat, and then he has his kitty litter, which is his 6 cat minions. But you play a fox named Lucky, and you could jump on stuff, dig underground, whip your tail around. It's very Mario-esque. You collect coins, complete objectives. It's great. If you have kids, great. It's fun for you. If your kids want to watch you play something and be entertained by it, it is. There's a whole world that's a bunch of farmer worms, and none of the characters like talk in real words. There's text, but they speak like almost a Simlish-y sort of thing, and the worms all have southern accents whenever they do it. So they're like,
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got a really charming art style. So I'm glad that you enjoy. Would you? So you talked about like for kids it would be great. Would you recommend it for adult humans?
if you want something that's like not crazy difficult and you just want to kind of like not turn your brain off, because some of the puzzles are a little bit thinky,
Okay.
but like kind of turn your brain off and just kind of do one thing for a little bit. It's kind of nice. I wanted to take a break from playing all of these RPGs. I've been playing like so many RPG games recently. I just wanted to adventure game it up, man.
Yeah.
And this game was great. It kind of recharged me a little bit.
Well, that's awesome. Allison, have you been on any video game adventures or no?
I mean, yeah, I was playing Roki a bit, which is always fun.
Are you close to finishing it? Is that the kind of game that you finish?
I keep thinking I'm like right there to finish it.
I swear you're right at the end now, watching the stream.
No, but look, did you see the very end? I thought I was at the end. And then right before I quit, I don't want to spoil anything. Damn it.
Okay.
I can't even say it. There's something that happens which leads me to believe I'm not at the end.
I'm going to say like maybe there's like 30 minutes. Maybe it's like you've got 30 minutes.
I don't even think I'll finish it in my next stream. We'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong. This game is a lot longer than I thought it was. I'm really, really enjoying it. I also went 2 slots lower on League.
I
dropped
diamond to gold.
Well, I was silver 1. I was trying to get into gold. I was like right there, right? Like I was a game away from moving into gold, and I demoted.
Oof.
Ugh.
And then I demoted. Like it was literally a series of losses into 2 demotions, and it's kind of ripping my soul apart. But it's okay.
It's okay. We have, there's so many other ways to enjoy the League of Legends universe, some of which we'll get to later.
And then the last thing I just installed, I won't talk about it too much yet. I'll talk about it next time when I play it more. But Mitrosphere, it's a new game by Crunchyroll, actually.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see how it is. So far, very story driven, and I would expect that from a Crunchyroll title.
Of course.
Is it like a dating simulator or like a story? Like
it's like
what kind of game is it?
Has anyone played Tree of Savior?
Nope.
No.
It's like it's got gotcha aspects.
Okay.
And it's an RPG you can play on mobile with friends. And you like go on quests together to defeat certain things and just progress in the story. I'm assuming there will probably be boss battles because I've played these kinds of games before. But it's something that Fee and his friends like to play a lot. So we try to grab these if they look good. I'll be really honest. Like this one's gorgeous. The art is beautiful. The fighting style seems interesting. It adds a little more than some of the games do as far as like placement matters in your party, kind of like some of the Final Fantasy games where putting people up front, you take more damage and back you take less, things like that. We'll see. I am really liking it so far, but I haven't played too much.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Tell us more next time you're around. I am interested.
Will do.
All right, Chris, what do you got? Actually, Chris, we have some things to talk about. I'm curious.
Well, can I talk about
your
another
thoughts.
thing first? Real quick?
Yeah, do your other thing, and then we'll do our friend thing.
Okay, so I did one of my personal goals for this year, which was to play in a Warhammer tournament.
Hey, achievement
nice.
Unlocked.
Yeah, so I'm actually doing another one later this year, but I'm also doing a league starting actually today.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
Very
for the league, it's
cool.
going to be once every 2 weeks. I need to play a game, and then we'll upload the scores, and they increase the points every week that we use to build our armies. So it's going to be fun. But the tournament I did, there was 21 people, including me. I finished 7th, which was pretty good, I think. I went 2-1. So it was a lot of fun.
Hey.
Tons of really great people. Everyone was super welcoming, super friendly. And there were some experienced players, some not experienced players. Everyone was having a good time. It was very hot.
Do you want to like plug the venue?
Yeah, it's called Tables and Towers at the Westminster Mall in Maryland. And they actually have a huge store, and then they're like taking over the mall basically. They have 2 of the other storefronts across the way because they hosted a grand tournament earlier this year with like hundreds of people.
Nice.
And they're doing tournaments every month, so it's really cool. It's really cool to have that so close, to have such a big venue that's taking like a really forward spot in the Warhammer competitive scene.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool. And tell me your thoughts on Code Vein. So Code Vein is the next like Dark Souls buddies game that Chris and I have been playing.
Yeah.
For the
Dan
past
also
little bit.
played it.
Dan
Dan
also
played it a while back though, right?
Yeah, I haven't picked it up recently, but
Can
Okay,
you have 2 buddies play it once?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so you can
Oh, yeah.
3 buddy it?
Yep.
Ooh, we should 3 buddy it.
we'll have to see.
Basically, Code Vein is if that From Software game we like a lot had a love child with Final Fantasy VII.
And that Final Fantasy VII was an epic anime set in Vampire Land.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and bit of a correction there. You actually only can play with 2 players together.
Burpater.
Blue, womp womp.
But
That's okay.
anyways, so it's really good. It does the Souls like formula really well. Parts of it seem really easy when you're playing with another player, but also there are parts that we got absolutely spanked on. So there's an interesting difficulty curve. But so far, it feels really good. The controls feel really good. They're really tight and really responsive. The story is an anime story.
Crazy.
The story
it's all
gets
over.
better
Anime.
as you go along.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
It does. There's a lot that gets revealed.
It is a really tight game. Like they clearly had a lot of love for that like adventure combat style, and I appreciate the things that Code Vein does to change up the gameplay, where you've kind of got like more special abilities connected to your weapon armor than you do in a Souls type game. Which is really cool just in terms of like changing up combat, and you can acquire essentially abilities from any class and then equip them to whatever. And a class is kind of a in quotes because they have their own terminology dictionary for everything in this game, which is
really
somewhat
do.
infuriating.
They really do.
It's the codes. It's the different blood codes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is what you.
And so we're just like, so this class and these souls and this.
Yeah.
But like I'm appreciating the amount of item drops we're getting because it keeps that fresh.
It keeps.
Which Souls-like games tend to do that as well.
It keeps that fresh. I think where it differentiates from a Souls-like game in that regard is that it's super easy to quick swap one play style to next. So like I've played a little bit more, I think, than Chris has at this point. And so I've unlocked a bunch of abilities and like a bunch more weapons and stuff. So I can like play with my caster build for a little while and then swap out to my big old smashy build and then go to my little slash build, which is really nice in a game like this where like you're kind of just fighting all the time and that's the gameplay loop. So getting able to change that up is really nice. And there's other like quality of life things. There's a map that actually shows where you've been and where you haven't been, which is awesome because the environments are good, but not great enough that you want to wander around in them super lot.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it to anybody whenever it goes on sale.
I think it's still on Game Pass too.
Oh, yeah.
So you can play it there as well.
So our first topic today is fireworks, and we're going to be talking about some of our favorites. Of course, they harken all the way back to the days of Mario getting to the castle. Pow, 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 pow. But today you see them in a variety of environments, including Minecraft and many other places. So does anybody have like a favorite firework that just like brings them a little bit of joy or like was a cool mechanic in a game?
Grunt birthday party mod.
Grunt birthday party.
Or like the skull that you could add. So whenever you headshot a grunt, it would be like, yeah! And like explode confetti and fireworks.
Is this a Halo mod?
Yes.
It's not a
It's not
like
a mod.
one of the
It's
skulls.
like a,
you can,
like a...
It was in Halo 2 and then they put it in everything else.
Okay.
Because it's just the best.
I didn't even know that this existed.
It does nothing aside from just anytime you get headshots on grunts, it just does that. No other effect.
It's great.
You get no score multipliers. You get no...
It makes headshots the most satisfying.
Just whenever you're doing just... Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
I love cosmetic, silly things like that.
I love it.
So good.
It's so good. It's so classic. It's like the one that you turn on no matter what you're playing it on. It's just like, is Grunt Birthday Party on? Yeah, of course it is.
It's a bringer of joy.
Yes. Even whenever you're playing on like legendary editions or whatever. Like I remember whenever me and Chris were going through doing the legendary run, which we gotta get back into doing
We
that.
do.
But that was on just because why not? You know, just
I don't think it punishes you for that one. I think
it's just fun. Grunt head explosions.
I think like fireworks as a mechanic in movies and in games kind of have like one of three things that it's intended to do. Like it's either like that cinematic, like beautiful moment of some kind, or it's just completely ridiculously silly.
That's a very
like
Final
that.
Fantasy move.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's like meant to show you there is a celebration. Like for some reason, like certain game celebrations, if it's meant to be summer, like the only way they show that is with fireworks, I feel like.
That makes sense. I think in pretty much any RPG, anytime there's a festival or something, they usually have some sort of fireworks going.
Right.
Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like all the Final Fantasies, I remember having like firework moments, but the Final Fantasy 13 one stands out to me when Snow proposes to Sarah. Spoiler alert! Fuck, I probably should have said that first.
Completely miss. Oh, Final Fantasy 13, is that the first one with lightning in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, and Sarah's little sister, and Snow proposes to her, and like those were like the prettiest. I don't know. They were really gorge, and the fireworks just kind of like kept going off in that whole scene, and it was really pretty. And that's the one that really stands out to me. Although, like, fireworks is a very Final Fantasy moment. Like that just happens.
It happens
in most
in
of the
a bunch
games.
of them.
Yeah.
Like the golden saucer.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
There's fireworks all the time, everywhere.
Right.
And not that it was
They're in
not
like
that it
a-
was not that it was Final Fantasy, but it's sort of Final Fantasy in my head a little bit. Chrono Trigger, I think during the festival there's fireworks.
Yeah. Very.
I think so too.
At the beginning, when you see it far off and you have to go to it, and you just see like fireworks.
Oh
shooting
yeah,
into
that's
the,
what it
the
is.
city. Yeah,
That's how you know there's a party
yeah,
happening.
that's how you know.
Party starts here. It's like an arrow pointing down. This is what happens.
This is where you go for the explosions and the lights. I also
Explosions mean party.
it's interesting to me when fireworks are a mechanic in video games. So, like, I think Minecraft is a really great example of this, and like using them in different ways and sort of seeing the evolution as well. So, like, it used to be that fireworks in Minecraft were purely just like just a visual, like, ooh, there's a little pop, and now you can like combine them with in-game wings that you can find essentially to like make yourself a rocket ship and like blast around the map at ridiculous speeds in the end game of Minecraft, which is just
Nice.
exactly what Minecraft needed, of course.
Of course. I do remember whenever they added fireworks to it, that it was like the first, I was just like, oh yeah, all right, I gotta go get some gunpowder, gotta go get like all the things I need to make it, and the fireworks just and you're like, yeah, it was cool. That was great.
But then they didn't do anything else.
They didn't. You know what my favorite fireworks to use are though? Is in GTA Online. One of the things they did in the first July 4th or like second July 4th days, they added the fireworks launcher, which is a rocket launcher that shoots fireworks. It's pretty straightforward. But it also like doesn't do as much damage as a rocket launcher does. So you can shoot fireworks at people and they'll explode and blast back. Speaking of explosion, they'll explode and blast backwards or blast away or be really annoyed.
Dan, it sounds like you've got some fireworks going on in your nose right now.
I do. It's very polleny. There's a lot of tree semen out there, folks. But yeah, it's fun. It's also really fun to annoy people with. Like if they're flying a helicopter, just shoot up fireworks at them, and it's just fireworks pushing them all over the place and exploding. It's great, satisfying noise.
And then also sometimes you see them in a lot of like horror or like zombie games as like a distraction tool. Like you get the little like firecracker poppy things that you can throw on the ground. Yep. Like State of Decay 2 used that a lot, where you would like throw like a pack of fireworks down and wait for all the zombies to gather and then throw an actual explosive at them, and zombie murder.
That's good. Zombie murder, always good.
Yeah.
Did anyone play Kingdom Hearts 3 at all? Allison, I know you did.
I think Allison,
right?
Didn't Allison do it?
She's nodding her head.
Yeah, sorry. Kingdom Hearts 3, you're talking about Big Thunder Mountain moment? Like
the Big Thunder Mountain where it's a train.
It. I don't remember what they called that section, but it's based on Big Thunder Mountain. Because like that was when they were like merging attractions like from the Disney
all
park.
of the summons. All the summons
understand
were
now.
attractions from Disney World.
Right.
So basically it's like this fireworks train. A train made of fireworks that flies around, and you sit on it and you shoot fireworks at the bad guy
From
while
the
you're
train.
Right, so it's called like Mountain Coaster, and it's when you're fighting the Rock Titan that you can use it, and it's like a special thing, and you just kind of like travel around the Titan and you fire the fireworks at him. So that was different. I don't know how I felt about them integrating like rides into the game. It's like how I feel about them trying to make movies out of the rides, where it's like,
oh, that's true.
Is there enough here for us to enjoy? I don't know. It just feels really kitschy, I guess.
Oh, wait, they were trying real hard.
It's like it was a fun mechanic, sure, in that way, but like there was like mad teacups and
the mad teacups were kind of firework-y.
Yeah, and so it was just like it's just kind of kitschy. It was something fun, but it felt like it was like getting away from Kingdom Hearts in a lot of ways, and what that meant. Like getting into the movies was one thing, but like getting into the rides, okay.
It's speaking of crossovers, it's surprising to me that like we see all these really cool superhero crossovers. And it's surprising to me, especially in like the late 20-teens, early 2020s, that we haven't seen a really cool Jubilee video game. Like that would just slap so hard, especially
Jubilee's
with,
just
like,
not cool. So
They
Are you
ruined
talking
that
about
character.
the worst X-Men character?
oh my god, so much hate for Jubilee.
So
What the
here's the
hell?
Here's the thing. 90s X-Men Jubilee was fun. was really good.
Yeah.
Had a great personality. I don't think she could stand alone. If that
Definitely not.
if that
I
was the
do.
implication.
Are you kidding me? Like, think about this. All right, let me set
All right,
this
tell
up.
me about Jubilee.
Let me
tell me
paint
Okay,
this
tell me
sure.
some things about
Set
Jubilee.
up a scenario
Yes.
in which Jubilee is the thing we need.
This
I
is
love
like
this though.
this is like, okay, people are burnt out on big, huge, large save the world story superhero stuff, right? So the Jubilee game would be like a neighborhood superhero story where she's
Your friendly
like-
neighborhood superhero?
Yeah,
is what you're
exactly.
saying?
Friendly neighborhood superhero story where she's like, just looking after the people on her block, and like there could be really cool like day-night mechanic because fireworks obviously look way cooler at night than they do during the day, and she's got like this cool spunky personality, and like neon is like back in again. Like this could be great. I don't like all the elements
still-
are
This is
there.
literally Spider-Man, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's literally
can somebody
Spider-Man,
cash in?
but with a worse,
So
with
let me-
zero like mechanic to move around.
Let me expand on this. I hate your idea, Ian.
Yeah, your idea is terrible.
I love parts of it. And I think it could be something if you take like a big group of misfit X-Men characters and put them together, there'd be more substance to this show rather than like firework fingers. So like who are the worst X-Men? Like Beak?
Hypersonic Teenage Warhead or whatever.
I
it
mean,
is.
Angel's
Negasonic Teenage
She's
Warhead
awesome.
is
Yeah,
pretty
she's awesome,
actually.
but like
Awesome.
not like a standard X-Men.
What
Well,
about
no.
the,
But I'm
X
thinking
person?
about like the worst superpowers. Like I remember Beak was a character that was in a comic, and he was just like a bird man.
Yep.
I mean,
He can't
that's what
fly.
Angel was kind of too.
He can't fly. Angel can fly.
That's
He was literally just had like a beak face and claw hands. Anyway, he was horrible.
yeah,
So let's
he's
throw
pretty
him in. Some of the
there
the
was
frog
one,
guy.
the X-Men B Squad.
There
Why
was
can't I think of his
one called Skin, who
Ew.
just has a lot of skin and can
Oh.
stretch it real.
Is it just
There you go.
Blob and
That's
he
a
lost a
great
lot of
one.
weight?
I know, maybe.
That's a great one.
You know, the worst one is Bailey Hoskins, though. Bailey Hoskins
oh, Bailey
is-
Hoskins.
Bailey
He's
Hoskins
like the
has the
quintessential bad.
mutant power to blow himself up, but he can only do it once because then he's
Right.
dead.
Right. So he's
So-
just really there.
He's just like a human person who's there.
He's a time bomb.
But like, how does he know that that's his ability if he's never done it?
I don't- mutant powers, super inter-brain stuff. It's a comic book. Who cares? They
and
just
then
know.
like tattoo. That's my last request. Tattoo. She could like camouflage her skin and could put her hand through something. So she's like bad kitty pride.
But
yeah.
also
See,
with bits of Mystique.
so
Yeah,
here we
sort
go. Now I feel like we have a game right here.
See, that's
But
the
like,
game.
why?
Right to
But
go.
who wants to be like the not great X-Men?
Yeah, it's like you got
How
to think about it like
interesting.
Suicide Squad, but more wholesome.
Right? How interesting! I'd play that. I'd
I'd
play
rather
the shit
just
out
play
of that.
Suicide Squad.
You know, you don't always have to blow things up. I know we're on the
Anyways, so
fireworks
here's some other
topic.
games that have fireworks. Rocket League, when you score goals, great.
Yeah, that's great. That's one.
Majora's Mask during the festival, which is like going
Yep.
out throughout the game. Awesome.
That is true.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. There's-
RCT, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and Planet Coaster both had fireworks show designers in them, which was kind of cool.
That's excessive and exactly.
Why
the
is
way
that
Chris
excessive?
would
That's awesome.
enjoy. Because it's a game about roller coasters. Why does it need a fireworks show designer?
Because
Why do
you're building
any
a
of these
park.
need fireworks? Okay.
You're building
Yeah,
a park,
true.
so if you want to be Disney World, you got to have fireworks.
you gotta have fire. I mean, okay, fair.
There's a game called Boom Boom Rocket, which is basically like DDR but with fireworks.
That's awesome.
It's pretty visually pleasing.
I think that's awesome.
It's
I don't know.
okay.
So Harvest Moon, and games like that, I feel like always have their little like summer festival.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Stardew Valley does it too.
Stardew Valley, exactly. They all have that.
Oh
Which was-
man, I said that word.
Oh wow.
Which is really just a cutscene,
Yeah.
but that was always cute. Animal Crossing, they in August they do like a fireworks show every Sunday,
That's awesome.
and then you can actually custom design the fireworks, which I think is the cool thing.
Oh yeah,
so cool,
So,
right?
that's great.
Yeah, that's a really cool implementation.
Right,
I do
Ian?
think
Isn't
that's
that cool?
Cool.
to piggyback off of that.
It's better than your Jubilee game.
Shut up! My
I like
Jubilee
that
game's
game.
gonna be our Jubilee game. Me and Allison, we're cutting you all out of it.
We got,
Good. I
we
don't
got
wanna be
this.
a
We
part
got
of it.
this.
Yeah, that's fine. But Ian, remember, you have no creative control.
We'll talk
Allison
to-
said your
yeah.
ideas were terrible.
We'll talk. We'll talk to Fee. He makes video games. We'll make him do it for us.
Great. I
He
love
makes
it.
video games.
Why?
Oh.
Okay. All right. I think that's gonna wrap it up for our fireworks cast. Stick with us. We're gonna get into the video game invasion of the big and little screens in the second half. We'll be right back. I honestly really like Jubilee, so fuck you guys.
Well, congratulations. You're the first person.
Hello and welcome back to the second half of episode 112 of the Game Brew podcast. We are celebrating the 4th or 5th of July, or, the 13th, whenever this may release, with some Samuel Adams. I'm using his full name because he's very official.
Yeah, only his nieces and nephews get to call him Sam. Uncle Sam, particularly. Oh, have you guys watched
Wait,
the Netflix?
is he the Uncle Sam?
I
Of, like,
think.
No.
Well, not
Sam
really.
things?
Not really. Did anybody watch the
The Netflix America
the
thing?
Netflix America thing?
I have not.
Nope.
It
I
is
heard it's
very
not good.
funny. Oh no,
Really?
it's great.
I heard it was
It's
not
great.
good.
No, it is great. It's like in the most ridiculous sort of way.
Okay.
Basically, they just make fun of these Americanism ideals. Like it starts out with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln being best friends. Even though
Oh,
it's like, wait,
Wow.
what?
I mean, weren't they?
obviously.
Chris. Oh, Chris. Oh
Dear
no,
sweet innocent
Dear
Chris.
sweet innocent Chris. And like Thomas Edison is in it, and she's played by Olivia Munn.
But she's also like an Asian female, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Love it.
It's great.
Oh my
I
God,
recommend it. It's
oh my
stupid. It's really stupid, but
It looks-
it's great.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, beer.
Beer, right? It's good.
Now, do you guys even have anything extra to say
It's
about
fine.
I don't.
I don't love it. It's
We all-
fine.
It's fine. It's like, but that's like the lager thing. It's like I'm drinking a lager because I
But
want.
like, there are good ones.
There are good ones.
This is fine.
This is fine. Brooklyn Lager is better.
Yes. So you're saying Brooklyn is better than Baston?
Oh, don't tell anybody I said that though. Johnny Two Hammers will be very upset with me. Actually, no.
No, he'd
wait.
be
I don't
super
even know
hyped
where
about it.
Johnny Two Hammers is from. He's just from. He'd
I thought
probably
he was
be
from
okay
Jersey.
with that. Well, so then he would probably like Brooklyn Brewery better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll have to give him a call and see what he thinks.
He's one of those Jersey people that would rep. He'd say he's from the city, even though he's not.
Yeah, right. Definitely. He'd be like, "Hey, I do construction work over here."
I work in the city.
Hey,
Anyways,
he's not here, so I can't bring him on. I know
Any-
you want Johnny Two Hammers. He's not coming. I don't
We're
want
waiting. So second topic today, lately, and actually in the future, which is something that's super exciting and we'll get to, video games have been pressing into film more and more often. And we're very much past the days of sort of the quaint Mario Brothers movie adaptation. And instead we're getting like big budget, even though not necessarily successful, but big budget action films based on video games. So Monster Hunter recently came out with Mila Jovovich, and Assassin's Creed also was a thing recently, and that was
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yeah, it came out just recently. And there's a bunch of upcoming stuff that's super interesting too. So what I wanted to do was sort of like talk about what we're excited about and what we fear. And so I feel like the best place to start would be something like the Monster Hunter movie, and just diving into that a tiny little bit. It has a 45% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sounds about right.
Which is sad because like I love Monster Hunter, at least Monster Hunter World, and I thought they really nailed the visuals of like the armor and the weapons and the monsters themselves, but to see the movie tank so hard is just kind of a bummer.
Has anyone seen the movie other than me? No?
No.
Okay, guess this will be a solo job.
Yes.
I was really excited about the movie, and I actually like paid premium to play it like right when it launched from home, and I fell asleep watching
Wow.
it. Is how it was.
Sounds about right.
And it was so depressing because like that with a world that's like that rich and beautiful, and they did get a lot of the visuals right. The dialogue was so lacking. Like they had Mila Jovovich.
I mean, it is a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. So
What else
Different
is he
than
famous
Wes
for?
Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson did all of the Resident Evils.
Oh, so of course that'd be the Jovovich.
Yes, that's why it
Right.
had me a Jovovich.
Of course
Right.
it did.
Which is like, that's fine. Like, I think she's a good action actress, right? But
Yeah.
like, and it had Tony Jaa, which like I was thrilled about. I love him. It had Ron Perlman. Like the cast
Right.
made me really excited about this, but the dialogue was the most pathetically written thing I had ever witnessed. Like the way that, so Tony Jaa's character didn't, he spoke a native tongue. So he didn't speak English, and he would like communicate with just like movements and stuff. And it was so awkward. Like they didn't make that feel real. It felt really rehearsed in a bad kind of way. And like the Mila's lines felt childish. Like it felt just off. Like it felt like I wrote this in middle school.
It was
That's
like
how it felt.
it was
Maybe you did.
like fan
Yeah,
fiction someone
Yeah.
wrote.
Yes, it
and
was
then-
like fan fiction. Thank you. Bad fan fiction. I've read good fan fiction, and this was just not it. Like Tony Jaa, great fight choreo. He was awesome. Mila's fight choreo was awesome. Those were like the best parts of the movie. And then everything else was weak. Everything else.
Well, and I also feel like Monster Hunter has that sort of like X Factor, like cute, fun character stuff in it with the Meowscular chef, which is just like the funniest possible like idea for a character in a movie or game, which is like basically a cat that just makes all of your food and is like
Anthropomorphic cat.
and is super like buff and has an eye patch and looks like,
Right.
like grizzled from battle, but just loves to cook.
Which was one of the better parts, that he did make an appearance, but I wish he was in it more, you know? Like, there was just, like, there were more things from that world I wish they leaned into more. And they tried to put humor into it in the wrong ways rather than those ways, you know? Like Monster Hunter actually did. And, yeah, it just, they brought in, like, a human aspect, which I thought was a bad choice. They brought in like a modern human coming into this world.
Right,
which
they
is
like
not-
get transported to it.
Right,
Right.
which is not what the movie needed. It needed to just center in the world that already existed, not bring this extra factor that, you know, modern day was being teleported into this world. And yeah, it kind of suffered the way Resident Evil did, funnily enough, in my opinion, where they tried to make it not too much like the game
Yeah.
and make it its own standalone thing that just happened to have the same title and some of the factors of the game, and have a main character who was like almost a blank canvas, like the player would be in this new world. And that doesn't work, in my opinion. Stop doing it, Hollywood. I know you're listening to our
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, obviously they
Well,
are.
okay, so let's go there because I think that's a really interesting point. So Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is an upcoming movie, not by the same director as Monster Hunter and the previous Resident Evils. It's sort of like a soft reboot of the Resident Evil film stuff, directed by Johannes Roberts. It's supposed to be covering the first and second games. What do you like? what are you all hoping to see from this film? Like, what kind of style, what kind of like action stuff? Because it's a difficult thing to parse for a Resident Evil game, right?
Well, I think we don't know a whole lot about it, really, right now.
Yeah.
But the names that they have associated with it makes me think it's going to have a little bit more of kind of what we're used to with Resident Evil, which is like there is a broad cast of characters in it, whereas with the Paul W.S. Anderson ones, he was just like, oh, Alice, and then every once in a while was the main character because she was like a new third part. It was like, oh, no one knows who this is. Who is this person? And then they just kind of threw in other Resident Evil characters being like, oh yeah, here's you'll remember this name. Ooh. This one, I'm thinking, because of the amount of people who are in it, they're going to have more of like an ensemble main character cast, which is kind of what they need, I think.
Allison, are you hoping they take this movie in a different like style direction than the previous Resident Evil films? Because I feel like the previous ones were very action and not a lot of horror.
Yeah, I think that's something that and I think it's a fleeting want to be honest. Like I think when it comes to games that are turned into movies, they often lean into what will get the people who haven't played the game watching. Mm-hmm. And I think horror as a whole ranks low as far as like all cinema money makers, you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to do that. So I don't think it's going to be the horror movie I want. And I mean, the original Resident Evil movies are my guilty pleasure. I hate to admit, like I have the box set.
No, I get it.
Set. They're awful. I know they're awful, but I still enjoy watching them because they made something I love into these movies.
I watched Starship Troopers the other day. That's a terrible movie.
No, that is not a terrible movie.
Camp,
that's a fantastic movie.
It's a fantastically bad movie.
No, it's not bad at all. It's fantastic because it's making fun of so much. Anyways, the first Resident Evil, that was before they came out with Resident Evil 4, right? The game.
Yeah.
That was more action-y, right?
Right.
Yes.
I wonder if there was a little bit of like playing off the movie that happened for Resident Evil 4 to make it a little more action.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point.
Maybe.
Like I was wondering if one played off the other, I guess. So maybe that happened. I don't know. I found that the video game adaptions that work the best are the ones that if there's too much source material and like it would be really hard to do a Diablo movie. Like because there's already cutscenes that are so good and like the story's so good. But like I feel like I kind of liked the Warcraft movie.
Okay.
Like I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I know it didn't do great, but like they were dealing with stuff from the first video game, which an RTS is hard to tell a story in.
Okay.
So being able to do a movie for that makes it a really good source of material, I think. Whereas like Resident Evil, it's really hard to.
That one was a lot better than I think people give it credit for. And I know that they strayed away from the actual plot of the characters, I think was the big thing to make it more movie ready.
I think, but like the general
but overall
stuff. Yeah. Like the direction of things at the end, like things happen. The big things.
It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to watch, and I think that movie gets less credit than it deserves. I think it's interesting that we kind of have gotten something. I guess it's not that recent. Gosh, my timeline's all messed up. Kingsglaive. Did anyone watch Kingsglaive?
No, I haven't watched that. It keeps being on Netflix.
So I went to the movie theater. I'm such a cinephile, guys. I went to the movie theater to watch that one when it came out, and I loved it. And I feel like people hated it a lot. And I thought
is this the thing that tied
really
into 15?
Yeah,
to Final Fantasy 15.
It was actually probably the reason I played 15 more than because 15 was kind of a big divergence in general for Final Fantasy and how they played. They went more Kingdom Heartsy with the fighting and things like that. that I probably wouldn't have really bothered with necessarily as much, except that I really enjoyed the movie and I felt like it set up the story so well for 15 in a way that just playing the game doesn't give you. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to do. And it makes me wish more games would do that, where they do like maybe your whole pre-story in a movie. I can help. I know, a girl can dream. But you'd have to have a lot of money to do this. But like you get that story and then you're playing the game. And that game, I mean, sure, it had cutscenes, but I'd argue maybe it had less like lengthy cutscenes explaining that backstory and stuff because you watched the movie already. So I don't know. I really liked that.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually, like kind of the mixed media approach.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking this world and expanding it into unique media platforms, right? Like I love games that have a really solid album. And in that same way, I really like that they went into movie too with it.
And like in a certain way, the Final Fantasy series is really well set up for that because there's like really strongly crafted narrative, you know, not that we always love them, but interesting characters. I think the music is a really strong part. And so they're set up in a way to make that jump from film. And honestly, like even the Final Fantasy movies that people really didn't like, I kind of appreciated. Like I thought Spirits Within was kind of cool, even though at the time was probably going over my head in a lot of ways. And I liked Advent Children. I'm just gonna say it. I thought Advent Children was
I did too.
Really likes Advent Children. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. It's not long. It's not long. You can you can watch it. I want to. There is one. Speaking of tie-ins, like game tie-ins that are pretty good. There's this movie that actually just came out, which I really want to see. It's called Werewolves Within.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it, but
yeah,
walk us through it.
It was by IFC Films, and it was like Ubisoft actually helped. They were like, yeah, we want you to make this movie because they just released a VR game called Werewolves Within, which is basically Werewolf. The game Werewolf. The movie is the game Werewolf, where they're like trapped in this place and one of them is a werewolf and they're trying to figure out who it is.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and it has like an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, the highest of any video game movie. It is the highest. But it's got Sam Richardson, who you would know, Milana Vaintrub, Sarah Burns, who else is?
I mean, if you think about it, though, Knives Out is basically the same thing.
It's Clue,
which is a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Knives Out is a fantastic movie, but I wouldn't say it's the same thing. That's more of a.
It's kind of a whoddunit.
Similar concept.
I mean, isn't Werewolf kind of a whodunit, anyways?
I saw Werewolves Within, by the way. It was good.
You did see it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Let's
It looks
fun. Sorry. I do want to take some time because we're getting a little bit close to the end, but I do want to take some time to pivot to some things that are coming out that we're excited about as well. So there's an Uncharted film coming out featuring Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I
don't see Mark Wahlberg as Sully, but I want Sam Axe to be Sully.
It's you
know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also it's supposed to be younger. Like that's why Tom Holland is playing Nathan Drake, because it's supposed to be him when he's younger. So
okay.
Realistically, he would be.
I mean, that's
slightly younger. He did post a picture of him with the mustache.
The good mustache. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just think of Bruce Campbell, Sam Axe.
Yes. So good.
He was so good in that.
Burn notice.
Yeah. I could get into that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to withhold all of my judgment on everything you say in this part. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Like here's the judgment of us or the movies?
The movies. Sorry, the movies. I have a problem finding out too much about movies before I watch them if they're based on something I love. Because I will prejudge them and come in with a preconceived notion. I did everything I could to avoid everything I could about like Mortal Kombat, the new movie.
Yeah.
And then watch it with like a really fresh opinion, because otherwise I would have like probably slashed it to death before I even watched it. So it's like things like that I don't have much of an opinion on them because I'm trying to withhold my judgment so I could be pleasantly surprised or have my heart dashed like it probably will be.
Yeah. This one is maybe a little bit tough as well because I think the director dropped out of the project along with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci pretty early. But you know what?
For Uncharted?
Who knows? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So Uncharted is maybe a maybe. Is anyone excited about Arcane, which is the League of Legends show that's going to be coming out on Netflix? Netflix had a huge success on its hands with the Castlevania anime, so I feel like this might be an area where we get a smash hit on our hands.
It's funny to me that they're also doing League of Legends because they did a Dota one too.
Oh, really?
And the Dota one was pretty good. Like I know nothing about Dota, but like
Nobody does.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was cool.
It could be good. I mean,
It's going to
Netflix.
suck. It's going to suck.
I mean, probably. I mean,
Allison's going to hate it regardless.
It's true.
If Tencent wasn't involved in all of this, I would feel different. If this was Riot making this series, it would be one thing. But Riot,
Netflix, right?
yeah. But I mean, so who's involved in the process as far as like creative control to help with the plot, right? It's not just Netflix; it's members of that team, and I just don't think that Tencent does story anymore. Riot did story. And now that it's Tencent, I'm not getting story, so I don't expect this to be any good.
But if they fuck it up, it's going to be gone immediately because Netflix does not play around with that. Like if it doesn't perform, it's cut.
They just take it off.
And that happens. Like that happened with Glow. Glow was great. It was such a
Glow
good show.
was wonderful.
And they cut the next season. But like it was such a good show.
It was really good.
I mean, Record of Ragnarok just came to... It was Netflix, right? Or was it Amazon? Either way. It was a manga that they just made into an anime. And it's absolute trash. And I feel like that's what's happening anymore. Like, there's few and far between these little gems. And I don't know what's happening. It makes me really sad.
Well, classically, video game into movie media has never been a thing that excels, you know?
Yeah.
Like, before Werewolves Within has it 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, Detective Pikachu, 68%. Everything else is in the low 20s.
Man, Detective Pikachu was so good.
And I thought Sonic was pretty good, too. Like,
Sonic...
It was like, kind of childish, but, like...
Sonic has a 63%. So
they bombed the reviews on that before the movie even came out.
Yeah, so that's not its fault.
Yeah,
because of the eye controversy.
Yeah,
it was bad. I'm glad they fixed it.
It was bad. I'm glad they fixed it too. It is like you're right. Historically, video game movies have very much underperformed. I feel like in a world though where video games are so much more a part of like the general accepted culture, like I guarantee you that sometime in the next 5 years there will be a Fortnite movie. Guarantee you. And it's going to be for like tweens and teens.
It's not for us.
It's going to be, and they're going to try to do like the Pixar animation thing. And who knows? It might be good. I don't know. I'm just saying it's coming. Strap in.
I was just going to kind of piggyback on that and say, I think that might be the problem. And I hate to say that, but I think that might be the problem. And I think it might be the problem that continues. Like I said, like, yeah, like, so for Resident Evil, for example, yes, they're redoing it because I'm hoping they want to do it right. And doing it right is going to be to lean into horror, but that doesn't make money as much as the other options. And as long as we're in a money-fueled business, I think a video game coming to movie translates into a very watered-down version of what it needs to be like really quality. It's more about like hitting the full consumer, because a lot of video game movies, they're trying to tell you the story of like 3 games maybe in one, or like I just feel like they try to rush things, they try to throw it all together to make it work for somebody who's never played the game rather than catering to us who have played the game and make it right. And I don't think that's going to change. And I think the more that these make money, the less it's going to be about satisfying the gamer consumer and satisfying the general public.
It's an interesting take. Chris?
So I think that the problem is that a lot of these games that are turned into movies or TV shows, it's hard to translate what's on the screen for a video game to live action. I think live action is the issue because the things that are successful are animated because it is easier to translate to that, I think. And that's why I think that Castlevania was great. And I think that I in my opinion, I enjoyed Dota. And like, I'm really worried about the Borderlands movie. I don't think it's going to be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have high hopes for the League of Legends one just because is it animated or live action?
Animated.
Animated.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it could be good. Netflix has had decent success with those so far. So,
Dan, any final thoughts?
Just that on the script you put a Splinter Cell question mark.
Oh, I did. That was me.
Oh, that was Chris. Chris, you put Splinter Cell question mark?
Yeah, there's a couple Ubi things coming out.
Yeah. And I would love to see a Splinter Cell like movie because they just released the one that's with Michael B. Jordan. That's a Tom Clancy character where he's John Kelly, who's like a real badass in the Tom Clancy universe.
Is it like a Rainbow Six thing?
Yes, kind of. It's like they're kind of leading the way that there could be like a Rainbow Six extended universe, which would be
that would be awesome.
Without remorse.
The Rainbow Six cinematic universe would be so good. Or
even just a Tom Clancy cinematic universe.
Well, there already is. Harrison Ford's in the majority of those movies.
Well,
so.
but like an actually
they're all actually connected.
Cool.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Like John Krasinski as the new Jack Ryan, with Michael B. Jordan as Jack Kelly, would be and then add like a really good Ding Chavez in there. But also, Splinter Cell is such a the games were so good. And like it's a political intrigue and enough kind of
spy stuff
to like
cool
just get that
a good suspense movie.
Yeah, good spy stuff. All right, well, those are our thoughts on the video game invasions of the big, medium, and small, and also very big screens. If you have any other video content of video games that you want to shout out, you can do so at the Game Brew on the social medias, or you can do it on our Discord at bit.ly/discobrew. That's it for us this week, so say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.